Assalamualaikum and good day. Hi there, I'm Diana. We meet again. I hope everyone is staying safe, healthy and happy. In this video, I would like to share some tips on how to answer MUET reading questions. So here goes. First, please expect some extracts taken from MUET Reading July 2017. For a full paper, I will share the link in the description. I will also share some of the questions and skills needed in order to answer the questions. Finally, I will also share some tips on how to score based on my experience. Let's start with the first text in MUET reading paper. You will see two types of text: linear, the one on your left, and non-linear, the one on your right. This text was adapted from The Economist. Now, I purposely put the cover of The Economist to show you that the text used is generally highly academic. Therefore, you should expect specific terms in the text, which may be challenging to some. Let's look at the questions and skills now. Questions 1 to 7 will test you on true, false, not stated skill. How do you know if a statement is true? If the statement or the question agrees with the text, the answer is true. How can you tell if a statement is false? If the statement or the question disagrees with the text, the answer is false. What about not stated? Well, if it is impossible. What about not stated? Well, if it is impossible to determine the truth of the statement, the answer is not stated. This is question 1, taken from MUET Reading, July 2017. The statement reads, more than half of all Facebook users check their account every day. In order to determine the truth, we have to look at the evidence from the text. In paragraph 1, lines 2 to 3, you can find 1.6 billion Facebook users and around a billion log on each day. The phrase, more than half of all Facebook users, agrees with what is found in the text. Around a billion, which is more than half of 1.6 billion Facebook users. The phrase check their account every day also agrees with what is found in the text, of whom log on each day. Therefore, the answer is true. Let's look at question 2. It reads, Facebook is the most popular social media app among Americans. When you try to find the evidence, it is hard to determine the truth of the statement in the text. Why? In the statement, the phrase most popular social media app is used. Now, when you start questioning this in the text, does spending 30% on Facebook makes it popular among Americans? It indicates the answer to the question, not stated. Question 3 reads, globally, Facebook is the biggest earner in online advertising. However, does the statement agree with the text? Let's see. In the text, the phrase the world's second largest advertising company is found. Does this agree with the biggest earner in the statement? Of course not, right? Therefore, the answer is false. When it comes to answering true, false, not stated questions, please look out for this. First, conjunctions. When you see this in the statement, try to understand its function in the question. Next is quantifiers. Remember the first question? It states more than half. Thus, when you see these words, more, most, least, few, many, check with the text again. Do they share the same meaning? Some words in English have many meanings, and sometimes it may be similar. So you need to check in the text whether the words used in the statement are the same or similar to the ones used in the text. Finally, sometimes you have to really understand the meaning of the whole statement. This is because a word or a phrase may alter the entire meaning of the statement even though the word is found in the text. Let's move on to text 2 in the question paper. Starting from this text, all texts are linear text. Text 2 for MUET July 2017 was adapted from the New York Times. Again, the text is very academic. Now let's look at the types of questions. From questions 8 to 10, you will still be tested on true, false, not stated. For this skill alone, you have 10 questions. Since the total score for reading is 120, each question is worth 2.67 marks. You may not want to make many mistakes. For text 2, you have 3 option multiple choice questions or MCQ. Each question will be accompanied by option A, B, and C. Let's look at some of the skills in answering MCQs, shall we? Skill 2 refers to making direct inferences. What does it mean to infer? Inferencing means you make a conclusion or an opinion based on known facts or evidence from the text. Let's look at the question. The question asks the method used by 4 groups in the study. When we read the text, we found that each group had different combinations for sitting, standing, and walking. So based on our inference, which is each group had different combinations of sitting, standing, and walking, we then select C as the answer. Skill 3 refers to finding main idea of a paragraph or a passage. The question is testing you on identifying the central idea. So, how do we do that? Normally, the main point or idea is located at the beginning of a paragraph. However, it can also be found in the middle or at the end of a paragraph. So, you have to look carefully. For this question, you can locate the main idea at the beginning of the paragraph. It reads, "Standing up almost certainly has other health benefits." Now, only option B has the phrase health benefits. Therefore, the answer is B. For questions 15 to 21, you will still have the 3 option MCQs. Shall we look at other skills? Here, text 3 was adapted from CNN. Again, my point is that MUET texts are highly factual and academic, so you need to be mentally prepared with challenging words. Let's look at skill 4, reference words. Here, I put only 2 types of reference words because these are normally tested in the question paper. The first one is Anaphoric Reference. It refers to something mentioned earlier in the text. The second one is Cataphoric Reference. It refers to something mentioned later in the text. Normally, these references are identified through the use of pronouns such as he, she, they, it, us, our, and we. For example, Susan is my best friend. She lives in Selayang. She, which is an anaphoric reference, refers to Susan. Now let's look at the question. The word predicament in line 3 comes after that is the. Here, that refers to something that was mentioned before. The federal government seizes your discovery. Thus, the answer for this question is B, the intervention from the federal government. Please remember to choose sentences, phrases, or words which are closest to the reference words. Questions in MUET reading will also test your vocabulary knowledge. Most of the time, the question may want you to replace a word or a phrase in the text. Please remember this. The options given are usually very similar in meaning. The challenge is for you to choose the most accurate vocabulary that fits the context of the text. Let's look at the question now. The word outrage here means anger. because in the text it is stated that their excitement soon turned to outrage. Anger is the most appropriate word to describe their feelings. So, the answer is B. The next skill involves identifying author's opinion, attitude, tone, or purpose. In order to answer this type of question, you need to catch what the writer thinks and feels in the text through the words used. Let's look at the question. How do we find the writer's tone? In paragraph 9, it is written that Peter Larson served 18 months in federal prison for custom violation unrelated to the T-Rex. Now, isn't that an irony? Irony is something that has a different or opposite results from what is expected. In this context, readers may have thought that Peter Larson could be jailed for T-Rex related charge. So, the answer is A. Irony. Skill 7 refers to drawing conclusion. Here, you are normally asked to draw a conclusion from a paragraph or from the passage. So, how do you draw a conclusion? In the text, Larson faced many bad or unfortunate events. Sue was seized by federal agents, landowner changed his claim, and he served 18 months in prison. Therefore, the answer is B. Now we move on to questions 22 to 29. These questions still use the 3-option MCQs. Text 4 was adapted from Reader's Digest. A sample of a text in Reader's Digest is on your left. If you are a Reader's Digest fan, you would know the level of English use in this magazine. Skill 8 is similar to Skill 2, but here, the inferences are indirect. Let's look at the question. What can you infer from the text? Is he angry with himself, or does he want to convince himself? When we read the text, he said, "I'm still me," which is then followed by, "It's me with a new face." The repetition of me twice indicates that he wants to convince himself. So, the answer is A. Skill 9 is on making predictions. A prediction is what someone thinks will happen. When you read the text, you will find that the writer does not state what is going to happen next. But the question wants you to predict on what comes after the ordeal. The word ordeal means a very unpleasant and prolonged experience. This suggests suffering. So, the answer is C. The next skill is on passage development. It refers to how a text is organized to help you follow and understand the information. Let's look at how this passage is developed. From the beginning, it describes and tells you a story of Jerome from when he was young until he faced his surgery. So, the answer is C. This text is mainly developed through description and narration. The last two texts, text 5 and text 6, have 4-option MCQs, A, B, C, and D. Text 5 in MUET Reading July 2017 was an excerpt from this New York Times bestseller, The Joy Luck Club. Normally, there will be one literary text in MUET Reading paper. This is the last skill, implying. Implying means to communicate an idea or feeling without saying it directly. Let's look at the question, shall we? Now read the text. What does the alley contain no escape routes imply? In the text, Mei Mei's mother is mentioned twice. This implies that something is going on with the mother. The alley is just a place for Mei Mei to escape for a while. So the answer is C. As mentioned earlier, the last text has 4-option MCQs, A, B, C, and D. On your left is a sample of Baltimore Sun newspapers. One of the articles was adapted as text 6 in the question paper. This goes to show that most reading texts are taken or adapted from newspapers and magazines, normally sourced from overseas. Before we proceed with some tips, let's recap the skills needed in answering MUET reading paper. These are the skills that could be helpful as you attempt the questions. As this paper is a reading test, you need to first read, and read. Familiarize yourself with academic text so that you get familiar with terms, jargons, or repeated words in the text. While you read and practice, always check the meanings of words that you do not understand. Nowadays, it is quite easy to check as you can simply Google it. My advice is to write the meaning of the words on the text. Another tip is you can also try past year papers. I'm not promoting, but you can get past year papers collection published by Sasbadi and Pelangi. I know that you know the importance of a good night's sleep before the exam. However, I want to stress on its importance because for MUET, you have all 3 papers from 8 AM to 1 PM. You need to feel energized and fresh when you attempt the questions. Finally, attempt all questions. Remember, one question is equal to 2.67 marks. Losing marks is not an option. That concludes my brief sharing today. I hope you get something from my short video. Good luck for your MUET or CEFR readiness. All the best and thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.